Hello there, my name is Q, and once again, this is an updated tutorial on T manipulation. In the last video I was a little vague and I wasn't as specific because I was still getting to know how to do it a bit better. I feel in this video I can give a more detailed but also easier to understand idea of how to manipulate T's in this game. So first and foremost, you should just know how T order actually works in this game, because it's different than what you might think. You might think that since the T's automatically reorder themselves, that the T's are based off a distance to the green or to the pins. Well, it isn't. It does. That part doesn't actually matter. What the only importance as to T order is where this waypoint is in relation to the 4 T's. So all you really need to know is the T order updates when you move one of the T's, and once you've moved the T's, it doesn't update again. So you can get away with, for instance, putting a waypoint here, then moving one of these T's, and then this T order based off of the distance of these 4 T's to this waypoint will be the T order calculated here. So if I move the waypoint back, the T's do not update. So if I move this back to like the driver distance, the T's still are at their order relative to that. But yeah. So just to give you a quick overview on this course, the default order of T's on this course is greens in the front, then reds, then blues, then whites. However, if you look at my scorecard, you can see that they do not actually line up with that order because of how I manipulated the T's. So what you really need to understand here is that, yeah, the T order is only calculated from where the waypoint is and only updates when you initially move the T's. So if you put the waypoint anywhere and then move a T, you can then move the waypoint back to where it needs to be without any problem. But let me go over the more advanced ideas here of how you get any order you wanted. So let me just move all these T's into a straight line, because a lot of the times T boxes will be in a straight line, and there's some limitations that I want to show you. So yeah, as I said, green, red, blue, white, right? So the easiest way to manipulate this is to realize that when you have 4 T boxes, these 4 lines form 6 triangles in between them. So the easiest way to say, okay, I want my green T to be at a certain spot, is to just have the waypoint exactly perpendicular to the T box you want to be the greens or the front T's. So let's say I want the greens to be this one, right? If I move it perfectly perpendicular to it, and then move the red T's here, you can see that now the green T's are there. And the reason this works is, think of these as right triangles. So I've made a bunch of right triangles here. So for instance, the greens form one of the sides of a right triangle. And the reason that this is now the shortest or most forward T is because these are all hypotenuses of this right triangle here. And the best thing about this technique is that when you move this waypoint on the top part of the screen, it shows you exactly how far away each of these T boxes are from this waypoint. So you can easily manipulate this. So as you can see right here, on the top of the screen, it says 6 yards from the greens, 10 yards from the reds, 12 yards from the blues, and 16 yards from the whites right now. So that's why they're then in that order. So if I wanted to manipulate this in any way, one of the things I can do, and this is kind of the guess and check method, is just simply move this until each t is at the right distance from it. So once again, let me just reset this, put it out here for a second. Clear all these distance markers. And then reset these t's again, so that they're in the proper order. Move the waypoint. Let's say this time I want the green t's to be this third back. If you look at the top of the screen, the blue t's, which are currently this one, show as being the closest, so you just have to remember which you want the order to be at. So there, the blue t's are only 4 yards, so they'll become the green. Then the red t's are 9 yards, so they'll stay the red t's. And then the white t's are 10 yards, so those will become the blue. And the green t's are 18 yards, so those will become the white. Or if I adjust this back, I can suddenly make it so that the 10 yard is, so the reds are 10 yards away instead, so that will in turn be the blue t's. So it's easy to just kind of lightly adjust this and see on the top of the screen. And just remember, all you have to do is just click, pick up any of your t's, move it. You'll see it changes color. That's because it's changing t order dependent on its distance from this waypoint. So if I want them to stay green, I just need to make sure they are right here. They'll turn red if I push them too far back. And then move the waypoint back to where I actually want it to be. And voila, white, red, green, blue. So you might say, okay, there's a certain t order that I want that makes it really difficult. All right, and generally, if you have these t's in line, it limits what you can do. So a more advanced technique that I use a lot, and you see a lot of my t's are disjointed on this course. You have to use some additional angles just to make it possible to have certain t orders, and that's the real limitation of this, and it's pretty annoying, but it's something you can work around. So let's say I want a really weird t order. Move this waypoint back. You can see it's pretty easy to get each length, but certain t orders will just be really difficult to do. Best example I can give is, let's say I want the green and red t's, which are usually very close to each other because they're the first and second back t's. I want them to be the longest and the shortest t's. So I would have to make this and this the first and second closest to this. So the only way to really do that would be, you can either offset both of these and offset this over. For instance, if I were to put it here and then move this t, and see, it gives me a helpful hint to see how far away I currently am. It's still red, still red, still red. It's now white. And this is green still green, still green, still green, and now it's white or blue, I believe, yes. So now I have green in the back, red in the front, white and blue in the middle. So just be aware that you won't always be able to have your t's perfectly in line for most of these techniques, sadly. If you want to get very specific t orders, you have to do offsets. But it gives you an idea of how you would go about making different t orders. But yeah, it's more straightforward than you'd think because, as I said, you just need to worry about how far the t's are from the waypoint when you move the t's. and that's about it. The hardest T order in my example here is on my 18th hole at Bohemian Club. I have whites in the back, and then I have reds and greens in the middle, and then I have blue in the front, and blue is usually my second furthest back. And I had to really perfectly measure how I'd get this to be the longest distance, this to be the second longest distance, and then this to be the closest. And it was just a matter of using the measuring tool till I found a waypoint distance in which this order was accurate, and maneuvering the waypoint until it's precisely in the right place. But yeah, it's just a general idea. It's majority of just using triangles is a really simple way to make this work, because you can always think of the right triangle, and the hypotenuse will always be longer than the other two sides. So it's easy to always set up waypoints via triangles. I don't think you have to go really too much more in depth than that. Just a matter of fiddling around. But yeah, that's basically how waypoint T order works. Yeah, but the key is, once again, T order is determined by where the waypoint is. So it just matters which one's closest to the waypoint when the T is moved. Then you can move the waypoint anywhere you want, and it won't change the T order again unless you once again move a T. Alright, that's it. I hope that's a more concise, straightforward understanding of how to do T manipulation, and also how to do basically any order that you want to do. If you have any further questions, I can always do an even more concise video, but I'm not really a video guy, so yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.